Spend any amount of time online in D&D oriented spaces and you'll find people accusing somebody else at their table of trying to win D&D. Everybody knows you can't win D&D. Or can you? I mean, after all, it is a game, isn't it? Let's talk about that, and I'm also going to talk about what is actually going on when somebody is trying to win D&D and how to fix it. Dungeons and Dragons, the world's greatest role-playing game. And games can be won, right? They have victory conditions. In chess, the win condition is achieved when you've threatened your opponent's king in such a way that they cannot escape. Checkmate. In Monopoly, your win condition is achieved when you've bankrupted one of the other players and accumulated more wealth than anyone else at the table. And yes, this win condition is often modified by house rules. Then there are the cooperative games, like Pandemic. Great game, by the way. I highly recommend trying it out if you haven't played it already. With this type of game, the players around the table are working together to achieve a win condition. In the case of Pandemic, to cure all 4 diseases before the pandemic runs out of control. It's a mechanic involving cards and markers to simulate having an actual opponent. But what about tabletop role-playing games like D&D? Is there a win condition? Of course there is. And yes, you can win D&D. The awesome thing about D&D is it's a cooperative game with a dynamic win condition. The win condition is actually determined by the players as a group in conjunction with the Dungeon Master. Now, if you're saying, hold on, the Dungeon Master sets the win condition. Not necessarily. Again, it's dynamic and complex. It might involve investigating a disappearance, mounting a rescue, acquiring a MacGuffin, and returning it to its owner. Or destroying it in the fires of Mount Doom. Defeating a big bad guy, clearing out a dungeon, killing the dragon. The possibilities are endless and can change throughout the game. This is why we can have such epic adventures over the course of a campaign. Now, this raises an interesting question, by the way. What about the Dungeon Master? Does the DM have a win condition? And if so, what is it? Well, is it to keep the PCs from completing their quest? Is it scoring a TPK? I would argue that no, it's not. After all, the Dungeon Master holds absolute power, up to and including the 4 unconscionable words. For those of you arguing that, well, no, there are rules. Well, you're right. And the first rule is that the Dungeon Master interprets the rules, chooses which rules to ignore, and can modify any rule at any time. In other words, the DM has absolute power. So if a TPK, or simply preventing the party from achieving their goals, or their win condition, is the ultimate victory for the DM, this would be trivially easy. No, I would argue that the ultimate win condition for the DM is to challenge the players and their characters, to make their final victory feel earned, to make it satisfying, to make it mean something. This is the Dungeon Master's challenge. In short, yes, you can win D&D. Okay, so why is it a problem to have that one player trying to win D&D? Well, what's often happening here is actually one of 2 things. Either it's a mismatch in player expectations, or one player is trying to change the win conditions for the game. Let's talk about that first one. If you have a group made up mostly of story gamers, for example, you know the type. They can be perfectly happy never touching dice as long as there's interesting character development or plot progression going on. They may not really enjoy digging into game mechanics or understanding how certain abilities work. They might struggle with challenging combat encounters. There's plenty of variation within the type, but if your table is mostly story gamers and you have one player who's not, maybe they enjoy tactical combat, maybe they get frustrated when other players don't understand their own abilities, or when the party tried to avoid combat encounters. Maybe they have an attitude of, fine, I'll do it myself, and then they dominate because they do understand their abilities. They intentionally built a strong character and know how to use it in combat. They seem to handle combat encounters all by themselves, walking all over everyone else in the process. This is a classic case of mismatched expectations. There's nothing wrong with a story game where rules are frequently, ignored, or they play second fiddle to a plot or character considerations. Just like there's nothing wrong with tactically oriented dungeon crawls, or anything in between. The problem comes when some players at the table expect a story game, and some expect a dungeon crawl. This is where you hear complaints that story gamers don't know how to play the game, or the tactical player is trying to win D&D. Okay, so what if that's not the case, though? What if everyone has more or less the same expectations in terms of the type of game they're playing, but there's that one player who seems to be always trying to steal the spotlight? Frustrated when someone else has more power than they do, or constantly butting in and walking all over the other players. The problem here is not trying to win D&D. The problem is that they're trying to modify the win condition of the game to exclude the other players. They want to be at the center of attention, the hero, while everyone else is relegated to the role of sidekick. Regardless of which problem you have, how do you fix it? I know some people at this point are saying, just kick him out of the group. And yeah, I mean, that's an option. The problem is, wouldn't it be better if you could solve the problem without losing players at the table? I mean, there are a lot of you at this point saying, hey, talk to them. Some of you might even be pulling up the chart. And yeah, you've got the right idea, with one very, very important caveat. You're going to need to listen to them. It's possible that they're just a jerk and you're going to have to ask them to leave because they're not interested in being a part of the team. Sure. But you might also find that they have something going on in their life that's leaving them feeling insecure, undervalued, unheard. As ridiculous as it seems, they might subconsciously be using your game to feel important, something they're lacking in their real life. You might find that the very fact that you are willing to hear them out, to make them feel heard, lifts a weight from their shoulders and makes them feel secure enough to be a team player. I know that most of you have already seen my video talking about the secret of D&D, and I hope you've checked out that book I recommended because it will give you a huge advantage in having these conversations. I can't recommend it enough. D&D is about people and creating awesome experiences with those people. So, can you win D&D? Absolutely you can. And when you do, everyone walks away smiling. So, go out there and win your game. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, leave a like. If you think I deserved it, go ahead and make sure you're subscribed and make sure that notification bell is rung as well so you get notified when these videos come up. Hey, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you've got an idea for a video, a question, something that you're running into, I'd love to make a video about it. So thank you once again so much, and I will see you in the next video.